the Prime Minister, Dr. Barnabas Sibusiso Dlamini, says it is the responsibility of everyone to pay tax so that government can get funds to provide all public and social services. The Prime Minister was speaking at the Swaziland Revenue Authority when submitting his own tax returns. Here's a detailed report.
As the 31st of October, which is the deadline for submitting tax returns at the Swaziland Revenue Authority, is around the corner, the Prime Minister, Dr. Barnabas Sibusiso Dlamini, has once again led by example, as he did last year, publicly submitted his tax returns and that of his companies. The Prime Minister says the reason for making a public issue of his submissions is to lead by example and publicly remind every income-earning adult and every company in this country that there is a statutory requirement to register with the Swaziland Revenue Authority, where a tax identification number is issued, and thereafter annual tax returns to the SRA must be submitted, in return for which an assessment is received from SRA.
This process is not optional. It is mandatory. If you ask me the question, why does paying tax have to be mandatory? I will say to you, where else will government get the funds to provide for all the public services? How are we going to pay for universal primary education, virtually free medical treatment, the provision of roads and bridges, personal and national security, and drought relief in the event of such emergencies? Every country in the world, except for a few that are massively endowed with highly lucrative natural resources, relies on tax and similar revenue for running its public services. But sadly, we have empirical evidence of an extensive reluctance in our country to acknowledge the need to pay tax, leading to a considerable degree of tax evasion. As a country, we have been fiscally vulnerable in relying so much on the unpredictable South African Customs Union. Yes, very vulnerable. And that is because our domestic source revenue, such as taxation, is far too low, both in relation to total revenue and the gross domestic product. Countries like the United States and the United Kingdom employ the most rigorous process to ensure everyone pays the taxes that they should do. Penalties are severe. Prominent public figures end up in jail for tax evasion. No quota is given because tax evasion is a criminal effect, criminal act, and harms our nation. Tax evasion arises from denial of responsibility and loyalty to duty as an income-earning inhabitant of this country. My very serious advice today is register before you get caught evading tax. Penalties of tax evasion are severe as the SRA builds up staff and expertise. It is developing a program of more intensive scrutiny which includes lifestyle audits.
The Commissioner General of the SRA, Dumsani Masilela, said it is gratifying to yet again host the event where the Prime Minister is leading a team of leaders in the country to publicly submit income tax returns as required by the country's laws, which is a gesture they highly appreciate as SRA, as they communicate to all taxpayers that the law is a fair and just tool that is respected by everyone in the country. Masilela says SRA's drive is to promote voluntary compliance by all taxpayers. The Premier was also applauded by the Minister of Finance, who was represented by Minister Winnie Makakula, and the Chairperson of the Board of SRA, Barnabas Dlamini. The Prime Minister submitted his tax returns together with pastors and representatives of the private sector. Reporting for Swazi TV News, I'm Sibusiso Dlamini in Mbabane.